Cap, I'm getting the hang of this technology, which is kind of scary,
You're doing great, John.
All right. So first question, where's the hard hat and where's the shovel?
I was not allowed to bring either home. Well, I guess I was allowed to bring the hard hat, but I didn't because I had no room in my suitcase. So I left the hard hat, and I think we're getting shovels like actually ingrained to look proper and nice, and then that'll be shipped out.
See, and for those that might miss the reference, somebody got to do a groundbreaking, and it was a very, very cool thing. It's the next step in bringing a USL franchise to a place that's very, very important to you. And I just thought that having all of the young players there, in addition to the dignitaries and all of that stuff, I think it's a cool moment for soccer in general in the Northeast.
It is. Yeah, thanks. It was awesome. It was a great day. Everything went perfectly. The weather gods were on our side. Honestly, the day couldn't have gone any better. And it's exciting. It's been a long time coming to get to the point that we are at right now. We thought we'd be here months ago, but snafus and inflation and everything and revolving around COVID and society these days pushed us back, but we're happy to be where we are now. Super excited for what's to come because we're going to build something really special up there in Rhode Island, and finally give Rhode Island a team of its own. It's had some minor league sports teams affiliated to mostly Boston teams, but this is going to be Rhode Island's team, so it's super exciting.
All right. So, and this is what I ask folks as they're building these franchises. I know that there's a to-do list somewhere for the group there in Rhode Island. Is it for you? Is it like me where I have 4 separate calendars, including like this one, the old desk calendar, swear I have this one. And then I've got the Google Calendar, but I have to figure out how to use it. So I end up using it last. Is it on the refrigerator? Is it one of those magnet calendars that's on the fridge, or it's like the thing at 2:00 in the morning with the dry erase board? Where is the to-do list that you have with this project, and what's the next thing you think you can check off of it?
Yeah, the to-do list doesn't reside at my house, thankfully. No, there's we've got the internal document and it's ever changing, of course. But some major milestones coming up on the to-do list. Early October, we're going to have the name and crest unveiling up in Rhode Island. So a big party around that, which will be super exciting. And then start to take season ticket holder requests. So that is the next big to-do list. And then also by year end, we want to have a club president and a head coach GM. So some big hires, big exciting news announcements coming out here in the next few months.
So what kind of individual are you looking for in these kinds of things, where I know that they have to represent what you want to present in a bunch of different ways? It's both on the field and in the community. What kind of an individual are you looking for? Are you looking for someone who understands the Northeast, or are you looking for someone who understands what you're trying to do in the Northeast? Because those can be two different folks.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that in MLS, you usually have a president, a GM, and a head coach. Every now and then you'll have a head coach that is also the GM, like Vermees in Kansas City, Berhalter was in Columbus, but it's rare. But because of the financial differences between MLS and USL, a lot of USL clubs have their head coach be their president, or head coach be their GM, or their president be their president and GM. And so we have decided that we're going to have a president, which is going to focus on the business side of things, who we really would like to have ties to Rhode Island, because Rhode Island is so tight knit. It's nice to know people to get business done up there. So we feel like that person would be great if he or she had some ties to New England, or specifically Rhode Island. But then our head coach will be our GM, and because of that, we're looking for someone with experience here in the U.S., particularly at the USL level, at least at some point in their career. So that'll be important for us, because we want to get up and running quickly. We want to have a good, like Atlanta United, have a very good, successful year one where we create that excitement, bring people back, and show everyone that we're here to win from day one.
All right, since you mentioned Atlanta United, and since this is part of your Beyond Goals mentoring segment, so time to take the right turn. If you were mentoring Atlanta United, and I imagine that you probably still have guys on speed dial and regular conversations. If you were mentoring Atlanta United right now, how would you mentor them? How would you and Beyond Goals and Greg, how would you mentor Atlanta United right now, knowing that the Eastern Conference is crazy? You've got 9 teams chasing 3 playoff spots right now. What would some of the key points in mentoring Atlanta United, what would they be right now?
Yeah, that's challenging because, it's disappointing to see the results go the way they have gone because, I thought they played very well in Cincinnati, and you still don't get the win. And then, obviously Wednesday was disappointing. They don't play particularly well, at home and against a team that we've always struggled against. So really challenging spot they're in right now. And, point wise, they're not far from the playoffs, but there's a lot of teams in front of them. So, with each week, it's getting dimmer and dimmer, completely honestly. And, I think that the message, for me is just would be like, it's literally now or never. Like there is no time later in the season to catch up on points. You have to do it right now. And, I think maybe a little bit of it is like, you need to start making your own luck right now. They're not getting the luck here and there, even when they play well against Cincinnati, you hit the post, hit the bar. Yep. It seems like the first chance against that we give up is going in. Sometimes, I don't know, just the ball is not being kind to us right now. And one way or another, you have to make your own luck. You have to start believing that the luck will be there, believing that you'll win games and that good performances will lead to victories rather than just hoping that it's going to happen. And some of that is a mindset thing. And some of that is literally going out there and, playing for the team and, completely dedicate yourself so that after every game, you're completely exhausted and feel like you cannot play another game for another couple days. And obviously that's a lot of stuff that normal people would say as well. Everyone can see and do, but there's no easy way out of these slumps. But the most important thing is to stay committed and stick together. Because if that doesn't happen, there's no way out.
When it comes to your young mentees, is the idea of slumps and making your own luck, is that a topic that comes up sometimes as you sit there and, a team will come and say, hey, we need you to talk about this? Is slumps and making your own luck a topic that you have to tackle with the young mentees as well?
Definitely. And a lot of that stuff is the mental side, right? If things start to go poorly, right? What is the reaction and how high were you before things started to go bad? And when they started to go bad, how low did you drop, confidence wise, mentality wise? And the bigger that space, the more difficult it is to get back to the level. So we do a lot of stuff in the preparation phase of things going poorly, but then the reaction phase, right? Controlling what you can control, is a big one. Letting everything else go, focusing on what you can do better as an individual to help the team. And looking back at things maybe that you've written down. We talk a lot about journaling, and it might be different for pros. I don't think too many pros are journaling, although Greg did every day as a pro. And the benefits of like going back and reading and looking at game film of things that you did well, focusing on positives and knowing like, okay, I can score goals, I can create assists, we can play well, we can do this, we can make saves, rather than going out there and be like, oh, can I do this? Like, God, it's just been so long since we've won, or so long since I've scored a goal, etc.
Greg last week, and I'll ask Greg about this next week too. Greg mentioned the warrior mentality as something that needs to be either accepted, ingrained, whatever. However it permeates into your being when it comes to an individual. When it comes to having that warrior mentality, what are the conversations that you have with your mentees about making sure that, if someone around you has it, how do I get it? How does it rub off on me? How can I sit there and accept that as well? When it comes to the warrior mentality, which sounds like it's something that both adults and young mentees have or can grab a hold of, especially in key moments like we have with Atlanta United. What are the conversations about like when it comes to warrior mentality?
Yeah, it depends on the individual, but one thing I like to talk about is there can be a difference between Michael Parkhurst the person and Michael Parkhurst the player, and by that I mean two of the best competitors that I ever played with were Joseph and Clint Dempsey, and I'll take Clint as an example. Clint was a great guy off the field. I enjoyed playing with him. He was my teammate in New England on the national team sometimes, and we got along really well. But when you cross the line to play, even training,
yeah,
Clint was a different person.
Mm-hmm.
He would do whatever he had to do to have success on the day. It didn't matter if it was in training or not. If you were playing training 6v6, 5v5, and you were on the other team, it was like he was playing against a US-Mexico game every day, right? It was that intense, and he didn't care. And there's, that takes a certain type of mentality. And Joseph was the same way. And I didn't excel at that area because I wanted to be friends with everybody. And, you can rub guys the wrong way by doing that, because you go hard all the time. But I think you come to respect it too, because you realize like that is so difficult, and that's what makes them so great. And so we talk about trying to adopt some of that mentality, and some of it in the beginning is fake it till you make it.
Okay.
Right. Fake it, where you're going out there and you're telling yourself like, I'm going to be the best player on the field today. Even if you know darn well that there's a lot of better players than you on the day out there, right? Tell yourself, I'm going to be the best player on the field today. I'm going to dominate. I'm going to win my one-on-one matchup and more. All right. And then you keep telling yourself that, and eventually your mind comes to believe it, and you will start playing more positively and doing things more aggressively, that'll lead to better performances. And maybe we need to have some of that with Atlanta United. Like, stop thinking that you're not the best team on the field, because usually you are, right? We have a very good team, even with injuries. There's no reason why we shouldn't be scoring multiple goals a game, right? And these guys need to, like Araujo and Almada and Joseph and Moreno, like they are the best players on the field every game. They should be. And they need to tell themselves that and go out there and just dominate, and literally just dominate.
How long did it take you to just go out there? If you were, because I mean, this could be even a day by day, game by game thing where you're just not feeling it. You go out there and it's like, man, it's game 26 in a season and I'm just not feeling it today. How long did it take you to sit there and understand, okay, I've got to put that fake it till I make it mantra on today. I've got to put that mask on today. Or was it something that was continual even through your path as a professional? And did you see it in other professionals who were the best at what they could do?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that there's absolutely some games where you're like that, right? Where you just don't feel, physically or mentally up for it, ready, prepared, whatever it might be, right? And Sunday might be one of those games for Atlanta United, right? They just, 2 games already this week. Now they got to travel up here to Columbus. They're dejected from the game on Wednesday, right? But this is what separates good professionals that are going to have long-lasting careers and successful careers, and from the rest. Honestly, it's these types of games. Everyone can get up for a playoff game or an MLS Cup, right? But can you get up consistently, game after game, no matter what else is going on, right? And we talk about one of the biggest differences between amateurs and professionals is the ability to compartmentalize, right? Whatever else is going on in life, and athletes are people just like everyone else. We've got stuff going on outside. Can you just put that to the side? Everything, right? All distractions, all talk, family stuff, how your body's feeling, everything, right? Put it off to the side. Focus on the game, the 90 minutes, and your ability to do that at the highest level. And that's a challenge for some guys. And again, it's a separating factor.
How hard is that? And how hard for how hard was it for you to do that? Because, a lot of us can sit there and say, as soon as we close the front door to the house and we hop in the car and we're heading to work or whatever, or we're heading to the pitch, you'd like to be able to put that stuff behind us. But I think what my question is in all of this is, how difficult is it to put that stuff behind? Because I think that's almost a day-by-day battle for folks, even in the real world. The folks that are blessed to be athletes, and then there are those who are the guys that get up at 7:30 in the morning or working third shift or whatever. That's got to be a difficult.
Well, I think I'm still live. Our host, John, has been exited out of the program. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, well, I don't know what happened. So, all right. So
it's very difficult to answer your question, John. But for me, it was a strength.
Yeah.
It was a strength of mine to be able to do that. And maybe I viewed soccer as for a long time as an escape, right?
Yeah.
It was, I got all this stuff going on, whatever it might be, like, but I know, okay, for these 4 hours, like, I get to focus nothing on but soccer.
Right.
And I love to do that. But it is a challenge, just like for everyone, right? And we talk all the time about, like, people bringing work home. Yeah. Right. And it affecting their lives and how they, how much patience they have and how they interact with their spouses and their family and their kids and everything. Right. It's a challenge. But, it's something you can work on as well, and focus on and try and get better at. And for me, it was definitely a helpful attribute.
Okay. So let me pull back the fourth wall here for a second. I don't know how this happened, but once again, I'm learning this technology as we go. I got a virus protection update from Microsoft. Wow. And bumped me off of the platform. I don't know what happened. It's like, you get a virus protection update, and you get that banner that comes in the low right-hand corner, and it just sits there and it goes, blew me out. I don't know what happened. I blame technology for this. I always blame, I can blame me, and it's probably the easier thing. But that
sounds like the virus is already there, John.
No kidding. No kidding, man. All right. So, and that was one of the things that I wanted to ask about this week. The other one has to do with the young mentees and mentoring parents, because I think at times parents need as much mentoring, if not more, than the young players that you and Greg and everybody that is in your circle are talking to. How difficult is it to mentor parents these days? Because they probably need it just as much, if not more.
Yeah, it's a fine line, because, the last thing I want to come across is me as a parent, giving other parents parental advice, because I'm not the perfect parent. I don't claim to be or think that I am, but, I do have the perspective of being an athlete growing up and then being a pro athlete and knowing how athletes feel a little bit. Yeah. And now as a parent, I see it even more on the sidelines and everything. And I think the one thing that we as parents have lost complete control of or thought of is that the real benefit of sports and, why we want our kids to play sports. And it's not to get a college scholarship or to turn pro, right? That is a byproduct that a very, very small amount of kids will, be able to enjoy, right? The main benefit is of sports to have fun and to get exercise and be healthy and be around teammates and, have that experience of being in a team and learning everything that sport can teach you that will make you successful in life later on, no matter what you're doing as a career. And those are the lessons that we try and teach and make sure that we as parents are, yes, setting our kids up for success how we can, but the motivation has to come from the athlete, right? The motivation at some point cannot always be the parent, the coach, the parent, right? Because that's not sustainable, and that's not, the kid's going to burn out and not enjoy it anyways. So parents are wasting their money with, private training after camp after camp, if the kid doesn't enjoy doing it by themselves at the house when they've got free time.
Yeah, because I would think that, the more that parents or influencers sit there and they try to push their will onto a young individual, These days, I would think that that would turn them off even faster than it was maybe when you or I were involved. It's like, yeah, I get it. I get it. I get what you're doing. I'm going to go and enjoy and have fun with my friends. I just think that maybe these days that pressure might be amplified just because of all of the external factors, which may be more than we got to face when we were growing up.
Definitely. Definitely. And I also think another big thing is that this newer generation has, I think, a lesser ability to overcome adversity. I think that, and I think some of that is because we just want our kids to win all the time at any cost, right? Win this game, win this tournament. It's so important. We have to win. But we've lost sight of the fact that you can't have success, long-term success, without failure, without losing, without learning how to lose, without learning how to overcome the obstacles that you faced during that game, of why you lost and how to overcome them, how to battle back and deal with adversity and deal with losses. It's so important to lose sometimes to gain that understanding, but also gain a respect for winning. That winning doesn't always happen. It's not easy to win, and it's something that needs to be constantly strived for and worked at in order to have success. I think some of that's been lost, and some of that is due to my generation of parenting and our desire to have our kids always win.
Well, and it goes back to the Clint Dempsey example that you brought up earlier, where I think that sometimes as a professional athlete, and this is what we're seeing right now with Atlanta United too, is that you've got to have individuals who hate losing more than you like winning. And that's another fine line there. But at the same time, you can't let it completely and totally just push you down and demoralize you when you have losses and you're trying to learn in those situations. It's almost like you're having to multitask. You're compartmentalizing here just to continue to focus on the task at hand.
Definitely. And I'm not saying that we should want to lose so that we can learn, right? That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying that there are true benefits when you do lose. But yes, and one of them is creating that mindset of like, oh, I don't like losing. I want to win. And now I'm going to push myself to hopefully not feel that way anymore. My son, he plays baseball. He doesn't play soccer. And, he doesn't practice much by himself. Doesn't really have that drive yet. And I don't force it. And he came home from a game last season. He had made a few errors. And that was the first time he was like, Dad, I had a bad game. We need to go work on my fielding. And I was like, yes, finally. Like, thank you. Like, I was so happy that he had a bad game because that's what it needed. That's what he needed in order to get a little bump in the butt of like, hey, I need to get out there and work a little harder.
What was it like for you to have that catch? I guess it was in the backyard or in the front yard or out there on the road. What was it like for you to have that catch and run through those fundamentals with your son when you got to have that yes moment finally?
Yeah, it was awesome because it felt like I wasn't the one that was pushing it, right? He wanted it. He not only wanted to be out there, but wanted to then listen to what I had to say, and wanted to get the repetitions. And it wasn't like, okay, hey, let's do 30 of these. And it feels like I'm telling him how many to do versus him like, hey, just hit me as many as you can so you get tired. That was the big difference. And that's what made it so much more enjoyable and fun to be out there that day.
How long were you guys out there? How long were you hitting grounders and how long was the lesson?
Probably working on fielding for a good 30 minutes out at the field, which is, prior to that, he would be, take 5 or 6 grounders. And if he got all 5 of them, he was like, yeah, I'm good. I know how to field grounders. And it's like same old thing where I tell like kids, youth kids to make sure you work on your passing. And I know how to pass. I know you know how to pass. So do professionals, but still professionals work on it every single day. So it was one of those things where he was like, oh, I know how to field a ground ball. I know you know how to field a ground ball, but can you do it every single time with consistency, no matter where the ball is going, and know where to throw the ball and all those different things. So he actually took the time to do that day, which was nice.
So once again, there's the lesson here. And I think that sometimes we all have to be reminded in these situations that, yeah, we might know how to do something, but it doesn't hurt to be reminded how to do something, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Because, you get better at things the more you do it, and the more you do it, the more ingrained it becomes. It's subconscious, right? You're not thinking about it when you're out there on the field, right? And the worst thing when you have to hit a cross or hit a pass, especially if you're going to break a couple lines or anything like that, is to be thinking about it.
There you go.
Like, God, I hope I hit a good cross here.
Or if I have the right weight on it, am I hitting it to the right point? All these processes in your head of like, okay, well, if I hit it with this much power behind it, it's going to go to this point. Thinking sometimes is a detriment, and it's just do overthink. And that sounds really simplistic as you say it, but it's almost Yoda-esque, where it's like, just don't. There is no think, only do. And it sounds like a T-shirt almost.
No, definitely. And for me, it was on the field. Most of the thinking was even you don't have the ball, right? And then you're thinking, like watching, learning, setting yourself up. But once I receive the ball, it's mostly subconscious that's taking over then, right? I'm not thinking about dribbling. I'm not thinking about how hard I'm going to hit this ball. I just know based on, distance and players and movement and those things, right? It's just subconsciously, because I've done it so many times, like, okay, this is what happens. But the thinking was done prior to that.
Okay, so what's the timetable on the itinerary for Beyond Goals? Are you guys still incredibly busy now, especially that school and schedules are getting back at it?
Yeah, it's ramping back up, which is great. We're working again with Atlanta United Academy this year. Plus, I'll be coming down there in October to do a couple of events with Boys and Girls Club, soccer in the streets. So. Yeah, it's been really good, really exciting.
All right, so first and foremost, when it comes to the match this weekend, are you going?
I am. Yes, get to see the guys in person, live in the stadium, so that'll be exciting.
Okay, we have a question on the Twitch pitch. Would you like to handle it this morning? It's about Atlanta United.
Sure.
Shiva wants to know what you think is wrong with Joseph. How's that for $1 million question to wrap up the segment?
It's a good question. I'm hoping I have the opportunity to speak with Joseph this week, because I think that mentally maybe he needs to let go a little bit, and I've heard him refer to himself as the old man with a bad knee a couple times now. And, what I was saying earlier, right? The more you tell yourself things positively or negatively, the more you start to believe them and feel them and think them. And I think right now, maybe he's still stuck in that mental frame of like, I'm not the player I used to be. I can't do this or that. Like they shouldn't rely on me to do this or that. But I think he's capable, and I think that he can get back to it. And so he needs to believe that. He needs to show that, because I think that he's being maybe, and this might sound crazy, but too much of a team player, too much of a, I want to help other guys, assist, and, be involved in possession. And I think he needs to get back to, I am a killer. I am going to score today, multiple goals, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do in order to do that. It seems like a little bit of that from my perspective isn't there. So I want angry Joseph back. I don't want smiling Joseph. And I know that, maybe for the good of the team and being captain and leading the team, he's lost a little bit of that to try and be more positive. But I want to see angry Joseph out on the field.
And you'll get the chance to do that on Sunday. Oh, one last Rhode Island question. I saw, did you at least get to pack the scarf that they put around your neck? Did that fit in the suitcase on the drive home?
I had the scarf, but then I was speaking with a young man, college age maybe, at the after event, and he was asking about the scarves, where could he get them, and all this stuff, and so I gave him mine. So no, I don't have the scarf either. Yeah, I guess I didn't come home with anything from the event.
So where can we get the scarves, man? Do they exist so I can add one to the office? How can I do this here?
I'll make sure you get one when we come out with our crest in October. I'll make sure I grab something and have it sent your way so we can have it in the background there.
Okay, so and you realize, of course, this also means at some point that SDH is going to have to come up to Rhode Island to do a remote.
I sure hope so.
Enjoy the match this weekend at lower.com. I know that it's going. Are you going to wear one of those split shirts? Are you going to have like a half crew, half Atlanta United shirt? What's the wardrobe? Are you just going to dress black the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm going to go neutral colors for sure. But in my deep down, when they play each other, I'm still rooting for Atlanta United. But especially given how the table is right now, Atlanta needs the points more than Columbus. So, yeah, it's a big one. I'm hoping it'll be a good one. Columbus has been playing better lately, so it'll be a good game.
Yeah, but you got to stop the supply lines to Cucho and Lucas Zelarayan. Cap, as always, great to catch up with you. Great to see what's going on with Beyond Goals. Great to see what's going on with everything with USL and Rhode Island. We'll catch up with you in 2 weeks, but just enjoy the experience there this weekend. We'll catch up soon, my friend.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Have a great one.